Hey, Star Peoples. I'm checking in, I'm touching bases to see how you are doing. This world has gone from a halt, a stop at people going into their jobs and having to bring them into their homes, to now everything is opening back up where people are returning to work. So I'm checking in to see how are you feeling going back to work? How have you been feeling during this whole pandemic when it comes to work? Are you feeling anxiety? Are you feeling overwhelmed? Are you feeling stressed out? Do you not enjoy your job? If you don't, hit the like button right now on this video so you can get ready to get this information on how to be a good staff. Happy Rising, Star Pupils. I'm Mrs.Divine Awakening, and I bridge the gap between intuition and intelligence. I bridge the gap between intuition and intelligence because those are two things that go hand in hand, but they're often seen as separate. Okay, if you're a highly educated person, you have been educated in a way to disconnect from your intuition and to really connect to intelligence. And then you're trained to not pay attention to connections that are important when it comes to seeing your place in the world as a whole. Okay, when you're highly educated, you are separated from your sense of who you are, your inner essence, and your place in the world, and completely focused on education, knowledge, facts, what they say is logic, their type of proof, things like that. So it's hard for you to make those connections that are needed to empower yourself and shift that power from you to your outside world to have that influence, right? And so the reason for this conversation today is how to be a good staff. How to be a good staff. I was working one day and I was saying that I was waiting for the staff to relieve me, right? And that word staff just kept lingering in my head. And so I looked up what a staff actually was, because I felt in my heart that I knew why it was triggering something in me. And just for me, what I felt in my heart was that I am powering someone else's thing, their business. I am holding the power and using my power, my energy to fuel their business. Okay. And so if you look up the etymology of staff, I've been working on this video actually for a while now. So when I looked it up back then, I wrote my notes down. I went back to look it up today to, refresh myself, and it was different. And so that's the problem when things happen and everything is online and nothing is in like hard copy on a book anymore, is that though the powers that be who are in control of those sites or whatever it is, they have the power to change things to their at their will. So, but anyway, if you think about, we're going to go from what we know. If you think about what is a staff, okay? And think about it all the way back to when staffs and things like that were ever first brought up. You're going to have reference to a scepter, a wand, some kind of weapon, things like that, right? So back in the ancient days, a lot of the Egyptian deities, they walked around with staffs. They had an ankh in one hand, and they also had a staff of some sort. Even when you look at the Greek gods and things like that, I think Poseidon has a trident, right? That's a staff with like the little 3 prongs on there. And so, and even in royalty, I think around the world, a lot of times the kings and queens will walk around, they would have some kind of a rod or a staff. So if you think of staff, think of wands, like a magic wand. Think of rods, like a lightning rod and what that is supposed to do. And think of scepters, okay? And so these are things basically that are used to channel energy. So any story you listen to, people have these weapons or these rods or these scepters and staffs, and they feel like they need them. And even I think in the medical field too, they have a staff that is like used to represent a symbol of medicine, right? And so everyone has these staffs, and sometimes you hear of people who lose their staff or or can't find it, or whatever the case is. Something happens with their staff and they realize the whole time they don't need their staff. The power is from within. The power is, they hold the power. So what is the point of a staff, right? So the point of a staff is to help direct and channel the energy of the holder, of the user. Okay? And so when you are called a staff at work, whether you work for yourself or you work for someone else, when you are a staff, you are using your energy to power that company. Okay? Think of the word staff, the same for the word employee. The word employ, the root word employ, what does that mean? Okay, it means the same kind of thing, how you're using that energy. Even when you think about the word member. So when I'm talking about staff, I'm not just limiting it to work. If you work for yourself, if you work for someone else, this also goes with even if you're active in the community and you're a part of a nonprofit or another role in the community, then you are a member, right? You become a member of that organization, whatever it is. And so what does member mean? Even PTO member, you're a part of your children's school, PTO member, okay? A member is a part of a whole. So anytime you're using your energy to power something else, you need to be conscious of that, okay? And intuitively we know that, but if you're disconnected from your intuition because you're all intelligence, you would not understand that, okay? You would not understand how that literally applies to you and everything to do with how you feel, how your life ends up, and what you're able to do with your knowledge, what you're able to do with your energy as a whole, okay? So be aware of how your energy is powering whatever you are a part of, okay? If this is your job and you're stressed out at work, you're being disrespected at work, you're bored, you feel like you're doing a lot of things you're taking the initiative to be seen and get promoted, right? To show that you're ready for the next set of responsibilities, you want to make more money, whatever the case is. You're taking these initiatives and they're going unnoticed, or they're saying, yeah, good job, maybe next time, keep it up. If you're feeling some kind of less value because you're at work, you're feeling drained, overwhelmed, anxiety, whatever it is that, these things that come up for us when we're working, understand that that's happening because you're not being a good staff, okay? To be a good staff, it's a sense of responsibility as well. To understand that you are a staff, meaning you are using your energy to uphold someone else's energy, to push out not just your energy, to push out your energy merged with whoever's in charge of the business, who's ever in charge with the organization, even the church, who's ever in charge of the church. You're using your energy to fuel their energy, to fuel whatever it is that they are here putting out in the world, okay? If you are not responsible with your role as a staff, then you could cause harm to you, the staff itself, okay? If the staff becomes of no use, you can't use it for you, and you can't use it for anyone else. For example, if the staff is stressed out to the point where now they need a pacemaker because their job is so stressful and their job is taking a toll on their body, then how much energy, how much of that person can be used to keep this business going if eventually it goes from that pacemaker to something else? And now they're out of work, okay? If a person is a factory worker, right, they're a staff or an employee for a factory, and they're working long and hard and they hurt their back. They hurt their back and now they are out of work. Now that staff, that wand, that scepter is no longer operational. It is broken, okay? So you have a responsibility as a staff. You can call yourself a staff, a wand, a scepter, whatever you want to call yourself, an employee, a member. Understand these all fall in the same category, right? So you are a staff and you have a responsibility of keeping that staff in order, okay? You have a responsibility of maintaining the structure of that staff internally and externally. So if you find that you are getting stressed out as a staff, as a member, as an employee, as any of these terms, right? You're getting stressed out from this. Then you must take your power back and start to delegate consciously. Start to consciously delegate your energy. When you start to consciously delegate your energy, then you are able to better serve as a conduit like you are. You're a conduit for whatever business, operation, organization you are a part of, or membership, whatever you're a part of. You want to delegate your energy effectively, where you're able to maintain yourself as a staff, and you are able to empower and shift power to that business, that company, that organization, that church, whatever it is you are a part of, because that's essentially what you are. If you are no good, you are no good for anyone else, and especially not yourself. Okay. So a lot of times we come home from work, from being a staff or an employee, and now we are too tired to do things like working out for ourselves. We are too tired to interact with our children. We want to just unwind and, I don't know, probably take a nap. We are too tired to go out into nature. We are too tired to take care of ourselves. We are too tired to clean our homes. We're too tired to cook a healthy meal. So all these things in turn that we are too tired to do essentially affects the staff. It affects you. Okay. And if it affects you, then you are putting constant damage on this staff, constant wear and tear on this staff. And then you are unable to serve yourself, serve your family. All you're doing is delegating your energy to that job, to that business, to that community organization, to that church. And then you leave nothing for yourself, or very little for yourself. Okay. You also, as a staff, need time to recharge. You need time to make sure you're feeling yourself from the inside out, so that when you are going to these jobs, first of all, hopefully, since you know that you are a staff and you're using your energy, you are the lightning rod that is used to channel not just their energy, you're putting your energy into their energy, into whatever it is that they're creating. So now that you know that, if you are not actively putting yourself in a situation to make sure that you are being compensated to a point where you accept what you're being compensated for, meaning if you are getting, I don't know, $10 an hour to do a job that is taking a lot of energy from you, you might want to reconsider that job that you're doing. Okay. So if you are getting compensated well, and you feel like it's a proper energy exchange from the energy that you're giving, and then what they're compensating you with, then that's a job that you may like, you may enjoy, you may want to keep, but still understand your role as a staff so you can properly delegate how you're going to use your energy. Okay. If you are not being compensated well, if you're at one of these jobs that are paying you very little and demanding a lot, like a lot of these factory workers and things like that, you have to understand that it's your responsibility as a staff to remove yourself from the situation. Okay. If the staff is being overused, too much power and stuff is coming from it, and you are damaging the staff, where can you go after you are broken? Something that's going to make you more money? Probably not. So you have to know how to remove yourself as a staff. You do not have to stay in one place. You are the staff. You can choose which hands you want to be used by, which ones you don't. So if they're not paying you well, you got to go, because it's not worth the damage that's being done on yourself as a staff. Okay. If they're not paying you well, you need to go. There are plenty of other things out here. And if there is nothing around you that is hiring, you must create your own. You must create your own. If you're not in a position to leave someplace that is not worth the energy, that the damage that's being done to you as a staff, then keep that job and while you create your own. And then when you get yourself off the ground, you get your business running, you need to leave that job. Okay. If you as a staff are going to a job that is wreaking havoc on your home life, I don't know, maybe by the time you come home, you need to cook dinner and take care of the kids and you're too tired to do that. Or just you want to work out and take care of yourself. You're seeing you're gaining a lot of weight. You have health problems now that you shouldn't have at your age. Then it's time for you as a staff to take care of yourself and your responsibilities to take care of that staff. So you may have to take some vacation time to work on yourself. Okay. You may have to just evaluate what you're doing at your job. Sometimes we as a staff do the most for our jobs when we don't have to. And I'm not saying to short yourself at your job or shortchange someone else when you're getting paid to do something. I'm saying understand your role that you signed up for, right? And now if they're asking you to clean up the bathroom and stuff too, and that's not a part of your thing, if that's not going to take away much energy from your staff, from you as a staff, then go ahead and do it. But if it's something that is going to absolutely take the most out of you and do something to your psyche, then you need to not do it. See what happens. You get wrote up, you get wrote up. Maybe they just don't ask you again. Maybe they were trying to see, because some companies, some people, they try to see, because it's all about managers, right? Management, managers, the bosses, things like that. So if you're not the boss of your own stuff, then you're going to get instructions or tasks from other people. And some of these people are trying to see what all they can get you to do without paying you anymore for the energy used from your staff. Okay? So understand that difference. If that's what they are trying to do versus if it's just something that comes up and can someone take care of it? Okay? Because sometimes you're working somewhere and it's like, okay, that person didn't show up to take care of the bathrooms. Could someone please take care of the bathrooms? Okay? That's different from somebody constantly giving you other assignments outside of what you already agreed to when you signed up for the job and not paying you more, right? And sometimes they say, oh, we're just trying to see if you're ready for the next, for a promotion to get that next, level up. Okay, so you have to understand if that's really what it's about. Because if that's what it's about, they don't need that long to see if you're ready to handle them tasks. Because if they still giving you them tasks, because sometimes they give you other people's work to do, managers' work to do and stuff like that. If I'm doing if me as a staff, I'm using my energy to do this work as a manager and I'm not a manager, I should be getting compensated as a manager. Or else I am overwearing and messing up the structure of me as a staff and I'm not getting properly compensated for it. If you are properly compensated for something as a staff, then the wear and tear, it's like a trade-off, right? It keeps building it up. You build up the staff when you're properly compensated. And I'm not just talking about money, because like when we do these community organizations or these churches, PTO members on the board do stuff like that. That's not money, right? So what do I mean by being properly compensated? I mean understanding your value, feeling worthy, feeling as if your use as a staff is for a good cause. Feeling that there is, you are fueled. You are fueled internally and externally by how you're using your energy in these organizations. Okay? So in your businesses, in these organizations, if you are fueled by how you use your energy, then you are enhancing your staff. You're strengthening it, giving it, enhancing its features that you can use your power more effectively, right? I see myself as a wand, okay? So when we're talking about, staff, employee members, things like that, scepters, I see myself as a wand. And so every time I say yes to an opportunity to work for somebody, work with somebody, or even to take on a client, I am that wand. And so I have to understand how I'm using my energy. At any point, if that wand feels as if the energy exchange is not good for it as a wand, not going to enhance it, make it stronger, it's going to take away from it and wear it down, then I have to pull back. That's when you have to make those judgment calls and say those hard no's, okay? Would you like to get promoted to be a manager? And you're like, wait, the manager's getting paid like $2 more than me and they have to do all these other things? No, thank you. I'm okay. I'm going to be right here. Oh, well, we think you're really qualified to be a manager. Oh, yeah, thank you. But, no, thank you. I'm fine right here, because you have to understand that When your sense of responsibility level goes up, what is the compensation for you as a staff? If it is not worth it, you must say those hard no's. If that means you have to go, if that means you can no longer be a part of that organization, if that means you can no longer work that job, then you have to take the next steps because it's your responsibility to move along. Find you another job, find you somewhere else where you feel as if you can operate efficiently as the wand, the staff, the employee, the member that you are. For myself, for example, I'm a homeschool teacher, right? And there was a point where I was feeling as if I could not teach effectively because the energy exchange wasn't there. I used to teach and be fueled from my teaching. I used to be so energized after I got done teaching that I wanted to work on my business and things like that afterwards. I felt really good inside as a staff because I'm a staff if I'm teaching, right? I'm a part of this homeschool operation. So I felt charged up and was able to do everything else in my day because it was literally not draining at all to teach, right? And then as my experiences started changing, my child started to get older and things were just different. And it was a lot of, I guess, pushback from my child. It was a lot of pushback. Me as a staff, I was giving out way more energy than what was coming back because of all the pushback. I had to push past the fact that I'm learning that I'm teaching in the first place, something that they don't know, and getting them to understand that's a lot of energy right there. And you add on the pushback that they're giving you because they don't want to do it, or the pushback that they're giving you because it is hard for them, or the pushback that they're giving you just because they got an attitude and would rather do something else or whatever. You're getting all this pushback, and that's more energy for you to go through. Okay, and so if you have to go through all this energy as a staff, as the wand I see myself as, it was breaking down outside. The structure was crumbling, or was getting, not even crumbling. The structure was getting weaker, and that's when I had to seek a homeschool coach, somebody to help me to operate better. And when I got that, then I was myself as a staff. It got even more stronger. Okay. It came back. And so when you see that you as a staff is breaking down in some area, you have to do something about it. And so for me, for homeschool, that was hiring a coach. Okay. For some people at work, it may be hiring a coach. Maybe you don't know how to leave your job, or it's not even the fact that it's your job. It's the fact that you have allowed yourself as a staff to be overused so much through your job that it has completely weakened your structure. But if you learn how to be a good staff, a good employee, a good member, where you are taking on the responsibility of a staff as an employee, as a member, and consciously delegating your energy, then maybe you can rebuild, because it's actually not the job. It's just how you have allowed yourself to show up. You have allowed your energy to flow through your staff. Okay? And so sometimes you may need a coach to help you understand that there are other areas in your life that you can work on to gain your energy back, to gain your power back, to fix that staff and that structure. Okay? So, star people, be aware of what your energy is powering. Okay? If you are a part of a company, organization, whatever, a church that is no longer standing for the values that you see, or never did, you just never paid attention to it because you were getting paid, understand that your energy is being used to power that. So understand what your energy is powering, and understand how you are using your energy to power things. How much of your energy is needed to do what you signed up to do. Okay? And keep it at that. At any time that you feel too much of your energy is being used else, and it is breaking down the internal structure or the external structure of the staff, you must pull back. It is your responsibility, and your responsibility only. Because at these jobs, if the staff gets hurt, okay, how many of these jobs actually care? How many of these jobs actually say, you know what, we're going to help with the medical expenses. We're going to help fix the damage of your car that the client did to it. How many of these jobs say that we're gonna give you that they willingly give you workers' comp? And if you need an extension, give you the extension. How many of these jobs give you even health care nowadays, right? So you have to really think if you're not if it's not worth it. I honestly I find really not a lot of things that are worth damaging the internal or external of the staff, the one that I am. But some things I guess are more worth it than other things. So if it is not worth it, if you're not being properly compensated for it, then you have to remember that it's your responsibility and you must do something about it. You cannot rely on these jobs to tell you, oh, you seem stressed and overworked. We're going to give you a break. We're going to remove this from your list of duties this week, or we're going to send you on vacation. If you got a job like that, that's great. But most of the people don't. Okay. So it is your responsibility. Pull back if you need to, say no if you need to, and remain healthy and in control of your emotional state. If you do not need to get worked up over a decision that is made, do not get worked up about it. It doesn't matter if you think that this is the way to do it. This is the best idea. This is not going to work. Whatever it is, understand your role as a staff and the energy that is needed. At the end of the day, whether it's the best idea, the worst idea, something that will work, will not work, if it is not your company, if it is not your organization, if it is not your church, then understand that as a staff, you have a limited amount of power. Remember I said before that sometimes you'll see these stories where the person loses their staff or their staff is not working or whatever the case is. And then they realize the whole time that the power came from them from within. So understand if it is not your company, it is not your organization, it is not your church. And when I say you, I mean you created it. If you did not create it, if you're not the creator of it, then essentially what happens to it is not on you. Okay? Essentially what happens is that you must realize that it's their show. Whoever created it, it is their show. You are simply, as a member, as a staff, as an employee, you are simply saying, I will use my energy to help toward this cause. I will use my energy to promote this. I will use my energy to sustain your creation. So the decision is not yours. Know how to keep yourself, your emotions in check. If something happens at work and they get on your nerve because they made this new update, this new policy, whatever the case may be, learn how to keep your emotions in check because you signed up to be a staff. You signed up to be an employee. And at any time you decide that stuff has changed or is no longer what you want it to be, or that the policies are unfair, whatever the case is, it's your responsibility to make your next step, to switch hands of that staff, because that's all you're doing. Every time you interact with anybody for anything, you are switching the hands of your staff to operate with that person or that thing. So if you change jobs, you are literally saying, okay, now this staff can be used by you. You are in 3-4 different community organizations. You're saying this staff is going to be used by this, and this entity. Okay? So, star pupils, the reason behind this message is because I'm seeing a lot of people get stressed out at work, have anxiety. I'm seeing a lot of people get overwhelmed. I'm seeing a lot of people's health break down from work. Their psyche is now messed up. How they feel about themselves is messed up. Their home lives are messed up. And it's all because of work, right? And it's not work's fault, right? Everything works hand in hand and nothing is ever the bad guy. You have a responsibility as a staff, as a member, as an employee to take care of yourself as that staff or wand or scepter that you are, okay? So it's no one else's responsibility but yourself. So be very conscious and aware of how you use your energy, because we are all needed to power any creation that is out here. Every single thing that you see that's being created or being done right now, it needs the power of other people. So take care of yourself, star pupils, and have a wonderful day.